रसिका जाएगी इसके प्रॉपर्टी एग्जाम है उसने बोला था स्पेशल के लिए अच्छा हाय तुम क्यों नहीं आती स्कूल ये भी जानती है हां तेरा स्कूल कौन सा है कोदार हमारा स्कूल जो बायो के चैप्टर्स कंप्लीट हो चुके हैं हां तेरा भी एग्जाम हो गया ना नहीं अभी होगा मतलब मैथ्स और बायोलॉजी साइंस का है कितने चैप्टर्स है मैथ्स में 4 साइंस में 3 ये बायो वाले खत्म है पूरा हां खत्म ये भगवान नहीं क्या हो गया तेरा बच्चा को दिखा था जब स्कूल में आया इस वजह से हाय भगवान श्वास के लिए कमेंट करके जैसे हम मेरे से बात नहीं तो ऑलरेडी क्राइसिस हो रहा है और दिमाग बहुत खराब हो जाएगा देखो पता है ना टाइम आई थॉट ही वाज चीटिंग ऑन मी हां क्या वो तो लोग नहीं छोड़ो नहीं बोल राइट टाइम जब तू बहुत छाता है जाना है मैं सेम मेरे को याद दिलाना मैं एक स्कूल में भूल गई हूँ क्या भूल जाऊंगी तो मैं भी भूल गई just like snow on the beach beautiful fucking beautiful you wanna लिरिक्स अच्छा लगता है हाँ क्या हुआ अपने भाई को लेके आया था नहीं स्कूल से निकल रहा था स्कूल यूनिफॉर्म में था अपने किसी दोस्त के साथ पढ़ाई को ऋषि के साथ नहीं वो कुछ छोटा अच्छा बाल में के साथ नहीं पर हाँ हो सकता है भी गंदा था देखो ऋषि की शक्ल अलग सी उसको मैं पहचान नहीं मैं मेरी दोस्त को ऋषि को सेट अप कर रही हूँ ऋषि को पसंद आ गई आशी को भी ऋषि अच्छा लगा तुम लोगों को मैं जो ऑफर भी देती हूँ पसंद तो आता नहीं आशी को ना कॉम्फर्ट थे आशी को पसंद आ गया तो उसको कॉम्फर्ट पसंद हो गया तेरे टाइप से हाँ शी इज बैटरी हम दोनों लड़कों से बहुत दूर हो जाता है इसलिए when you can't explore what's the point एक इलेवन का मेरे साथ है उसके साथ रह के टॉक्सिक कर जाएगी क्या एक इलेवन का बंदा टेक्स्ट अरे भाई अस मोमेंट हो गया मैं तो रिजेक्ट कर दिया प्रपोजल तुम्हारा टेक्स्टिंग से करेगा अस मोमेंट हो गया यार ये तो अस मोमेंट हो गया कौन तो अस मोमेंट इसकी हंसी आ गई किसी को भी बस बोल दो मेरी क्लास में प्रगति है उसका बॉयफ्रेंड 11th में तो मैंने उसकी दोस्त को फॉलो किया था तो सुन अबे नहीं अच्छा बोल उसका प्रगति का चुप मेरे से मेरी बात नहीं चुप ना सुन ली किस जाने क्या वास्ती सुन लिया का शॉट फाड़ देते हैं उसके बाद उसका बर्थडे था तो मेरे को मैं नहीं उसकी डिटेल्स मुझसे पढ़ थी ये एंड बेटर क्या पास में सुन हंसने की साले आदत है पूरा गाना बजाने मेरा ही हाथ आते ड्रामा मेरे को ड्रामा तू भी सुन ले पहले मेरी अबे क्या कोई नहीं बैठता ना अनुराग सुन मोमो लेने गए जो फ्रेंड है प्रगति उसका बॉयफ्रेंड उसका बॉयफ्रेंड का फ्रेंड निधि उसको मैंने फॉलो किया था तो निधि का दोस्त सारा उसने मेरे को फॉलो किया and he texted me first उसको लाइक मुझे अगर 11 का मतलब फिर टेक्स्ट करें तो नहीं था ऐसा नहीं होता 16 से 16 से लड़कों को अपने से छोटी लड़कियां पसंद आ सकती हैं होपफुली देख रही है ज्यादा इसकी हाइट 5 फीट भी नहीं लेकिन तो हमेशा मेरे को जाओ देखो 4 बार और रोस्ट कर देगा मेरे को भी डाल के वो बड़ी इज्जत से बात करते हैं होगा कि सारी इज्जत उधर जाती है
स्कूल में तो स्पीकर है ना।
सीरियसली नहीं था ये सब, वो बस स्कूल में डिसेंट है।
नसीब तो एफ में है क्या? आज मैं नीचे
बिगाड़ते वक्त आपका नाटक का वो इतना अच्छा नाटक। मेरे क्लास में कोई एंटी बुलिंग से रिलेटेड था, मतलब हमारी क्लास में।
अरे वो तुम दोनों की, तुम सी और एफ
तुम
में
एग्जैक्टली
तुम लोग को लेकर गए थे।
नहीं पर वैसा कुछ मतलब काफी ना रिलेटेड पता हो ये 10 कमियां निकालते हैं, मेरा दिमाग खराब हो जाता है। मैं गलत थोड़ी बोलती हूँ, सही बोल रही हूँ, हेल्पिंग यू get better.
Let her have a plot, plot development, character development.
बुली हो गए, तेरे को पता है बुली नहीं बुली हो गए हटा के
6 दिन में हमारा बनना।
इतनी जल्दी क्या चल रहा है तुम्हारा?
मैं इसको रोज देखती हूँ भाई।
कंफ्रंट किया नहीं लगता तुमने इसकी शक्ल
नहीं
आधा टाइम यूनिफॉर्म तो पहनता नहीं
क्या
है।
बोला
है ना? यूनिफॉर्म नहीं पहनता मतलब स्कूल में, ऐसे ही पजामा और टॉप पहन के बैग पहन के खड़ा है। अरे जैसे जरा था ना पजामा शर्ट पहन के जैसे यहाँ था वैसे ही स्कूल में दिखता है।
पजामा नहीं है वो देगा और जामी हां तो मैं मेरे से तो सोच से हाथ तो है ही नहीं दिस बट इज जस्ट स्किनी है थोड़ा ज्यादा ही है ब्रो मेरा वो चिमटाता है कहां थोड़ा होता है उसका बन जाएगा हिला हिला के मनी जाएगा मतलब होपफुली को मेरे को
क्या कर रही है ऐसे एक कोई ऐसे कैसे सर कंप्लेन कर रहा है आज
कर दिया तो
अरे यार चेंज ही नहीं करी तो सर बार-बार बोलते हैं।
अरे कॉपी करने देते हैं शादी से एग्जैक्टली
अच्छे पर अच्छे भाई वो क्या हो क्या है
नहीं यार साला मेरा मैं जब भी आती हूँ कि बायोलॉजी का क्यों हो जाता है अबे एमबीबीएस में एमबीबीएस में आंसर हुआ
मैं भी नहीं
अच्छा हुआ
तू 3-4 दिन से नहीं आ रही मैं भी नहीं आई
3-4 दिन एक ही मैंने स्किप किया
मैंने 3 तो
पहले वाले दिन आई थी
Good evening. Why some are absent today?
हेलो
Exams going. School exams going on.
we just had an Hindi exam today.
Which exam going on now? Meaning,
कोदा
for that exam it's their term exam, unit test.
Yeah, but it's 40.
So these children are from Fodar.
no we reached to
We both were.
You both.
Yeah, like we have a holiday Saturday, Sunday, and weekend.
Acha. Today you had Hindi.
Yeah,
How was it? 20 marks, no?
40.
40 marks, huh? 40 marks. So for CBSE also you have Marathi till 8th standard.
10th, we have
10th now you have, no? 9th and 10th also you have. You finished with? You finished with issues. What was the last topic? Find out. Bio, which chapter for the test? Cell only.
Yes.
Cell only, or half of it? What did you say half of it?
Check it for this.
When is science? When is science?
Science is
Last exam. Check the bio portion. Bio portion. Hopefully we are done.
This is
Cell
one
we have
chapter.
done. Cell only perhaps, no? Cell only. Now, for this term, the next chapter that we'll have to just check tissues are we done? Did we do some question answers also? The other day we must have done. Check. What is the last topic? Why did you cut such long hair?
it's really difficult to manage them while playing hockey so I ended up
As if you are managing, your mother must be managing your hair.
no she doesn't she has arthritis so she cannot I think we
You did not feel sorry cutting your hair.
no I like it like this now
Last topic, find out from your notebook what was the last topic today. Are we done with epithelial tissues?
Yes, we completed everything.
All the tissues. Connective also we must have finished already, no? So tissues we are already done. Questions, did we do all the 4 types we have finished? Epithelial, connective, nervous, muscular.
Yes.
All the 4 we have finished. Anything that you want to clarify? We'll do some questions and then we'll try to start with the next chapter today. Next chapter for this term, as if I go by last year's syllabus, because still this time, the chapter which was deleted last year has not been confirmed whether they are to be taken again this year, because there are some 1 or 2 chapters partly or fully they were deleted last year. So we'll have to wait for another month. Perhaps by the month of August, September, they would be confirming, because last year also by the month of September, October, it was confirmed that certain chapters will be there or not. So chapters which were already there last year, so these are the chapters first of all we will take, because these are confirmed that they are there. Diversity we are not going to take now because that was deleted last year.
Yeah.
So we'll take.
I believe diversity was removed from the new textbook.
Is it there? Just check. Is this your textbook, the new textbook?
I believe diversity was the new.
Diversity is not removed from the textbook. It is there in the textbook. It is there in the textbook, but
we are not doing
syllabus.
the chapter.
So, but again, CBSE by the month of September, again they'll come up with new things. September. So let us not do that chapter. Your school also will not keep any exam on that chapter as it is. They'll have to finish tissues first. So we'll take improvement in food resource, that is there, that is already there. But let us complete with
in volume 1 or 2.
In one
It's volume
1, in volume 1 only.
No, it's in volume.
Okay, I have the
Volume 1 it is. Is it not?
No, diversity in organisms in volume 1.
I'm not talking about diversity. I'm talking about improvement.
Improvement in food resources is the last chapter, right? So it's in
Volume 1.
Yeah,
It's volume 1.
Volume 2.
Volume 2. That's not in volume 1. Yeah, it's
Volume 1. 2 now. Okay. So
Yes.
volume 1, 2. So first we'll complete with some questions on the chapter. Choose few questions from the volume you are going to try. Give me one volume. Give me one. Few questions, try 10 minutes. And in that process, find out if there's anything that you want to clarify. You can see the look into page 116. Look into page 116, fill in the blanks. True, false. Fill in the blanks, true, false. And the worksheet, can you see the worksheet there? Page 119. Page 119. Can you see the worksheet there?
Yes.
This worksheet, not all questions I want you to do. Number 1. Number 3, differentiate xylem and phloem. Bracket may write down only as per the function you will write down the difference. As per the function, bracket function. Number 4, describe 2 types of protective tissue. Just one sentence you will write. What do you remember? Number 5. Number 6, sclerenchyma, collenchyma. Bracket you write location. Based on the location, I want you to write one difference right now. Number 7. Number 8 we are not doing right now because it's very easy. Number 9.
Ma'am, I thought we'd do 4 reasons stress. I didn't get volume.
What is it?
I thought we'd be doing 4 reasons stress. I didn't get volume.
Improvement in food resources. You will not need the volume.
I didn't get volume 1. So you asked us to take some questions. Yes.
Okay. So in that case, what you will do is you'll have to take somebody's volume. Let the girls share. One of you give your volume to him. Okay, get started. Get started. 10-15 minutes. We should be able to finish. After that, we move on to the next chapter today. This girl is absent. 2 are absent today. 3. One girl here.
Jignasha and Siddhi.
You will not look for the answers. चलो करते रहो, देखो how much you are able to answer on your own. And time I gave you, 15 minutes. Speed up.
Repeat the repeat the question.
Repeat the question. Tell him, no? Which questions?
1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9.
Don't be so harsh.
1,
आराम से बोलो ना.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. And in the differentiate between xylem and phloem, we have to describe only its function and distinguish between sclerenchyma and collenchyma. We have to distinguish between its location.
Got it? And the previous true, false, and fill in the blanks, all you are supposed to do. You better do with pencil there in the book. Okay, or if you want to write down the answer, just look at the questions and write down the answer in your own notebook. As it is, he's only the lone pair of electron here standing. Help it. Are you enjoying? Get one friend. You have a friend here. You are friendly with them, no?
We are very friendly
No?
with them.
You are?
We try to be very friendly. It's not the type to keep conversation.
But I'm not feeling those vibes at all.
No, there is no enmity. It's just we're friends.
Be very much
Acquaintances.
helpful and friendly with him.
All the fill in the blanks.
All. Now the chapter is over, so there's no point selecting the questions. All you should be able to answer.
Sorry, fill in the blanks are true. तो
वॉल्यूम में लिखना है. वॉल्यूम में
हम
लिखना
दोनों
है.
सेम ही शेयर कर रहे थे नोटबुक में लिखना.
अच्छा ठीक है लिखो.
Oh.
Those of you are using your own volume, write in the volume itself. Pencil से लिखो.
Mom, fill in the blanks can have the same answer.
Yeah, of course.
Spelled dendrite.
D-N-D-R-I-T-E. Dendrite.
Ma'am, in the fourth question, they said to describe 2 types of protective tissue. Ma'am, do you have to give the example and then describe how it is a protective tissue?
Protective tissue and specific their function. Only one line, one sentence to write. Protective tissue. For example, number 1, epidermis on the upper surface of the leaf producing cuticle. That's
And
it.
skin also?
Skin. We did not study protective tissue for the animals at all. We studied protective tissue for the plants only.
Yeah, all for plants.
Bark on the outer surface of the stem.
Okay, understand.
Just one sentence to write. You have a doubt, you'll not keep on searching. You can ask, clarify, fatapat complete karo. If you get the answer, if you get stuck, don't waste your time.
Tissue that binds to
Bones, ligament. Hurry, cut and write down.
No, it just looks bad. Everything else is
Such an habit you all have made. White now, you need for that. It's not a project or a final report that you're making.
No, when my notebook looks good and something goes wrong, I have the urge to whiten it. Honestly, thank you.
Do fast, huh? Another 10 minutes you should be finished. Go through the questions, you have a doubt, clarify. Keep the book up there, no? happened? Which question you were looking for?
I don't know most of the questions anymore. I was absent.
Keep solving. Tell me.
I
Which are the
only-
questions?
I only attended like 1 or 2 classes for this chapter.
For the entire chapter.
Yeah, I barely attended any classes. I missed 2 and then I missed the one before also.
Then how will you manage with this chapter?
It's not
After
that
your
hard.
exam, then
Yeah.
if anybody else is there who has
I
mails,
also have to.
Tissues?
Didn't come in for the past few classes.
tissues.
Yeah,
How many lectures you missed
I'm
tissues?
not exactly sure, but I wasn't there for this entire.
So ask Rekha ma'am after your exams, then take that up. No?
Yes, no.
After my exams, I'll read the chapter. It's mostly easy.
Hmm.
So I'll do it.
Only certain things to understand, certain things to remember. And if there's something required, you'll have to talk to her, she'll arrange something for you. But that revision part, we cannot do it in the regular lecture because this is only for continuation of the chapters, finishing up with the portion syllabus as per your school requirements. So in that case, you do one thing, just read the chapter. Now don't go for solving because unless and until you know the context, how can you solve the questions? Just read the chapter from the volume. Just read. B2, B2. Those of you who were there for most of the lectures you were present, then you have to solve. But I think there were around 6 lectures for this chapter. If roughly around 4 you have attended, then you should be able to solve.
Two types of protective cells. One is the bark of the tree. What would be the other?
Bark, you have studied epidermis.
Which one?
Epidermis and bark, these are the two that you have studied. Epidermis on the upper surface of the leaf producing the cuticle.
Ma'am, is it epidermis or is it epidermis? Is it epidermis?
Epidermis, it is unmarried. M-I-S. Epidermis. M-I-S, not double S. Go through. As you read the chapter, you may come across many words, functions. If you're not clear, then you can underline. Underline and keep, so next time you can ask. And what about you two? Are you able to solve?
When I was able to solve the first 4, I'm trying to see if I can do the rest.
You don't have to try, you have to do it. You've attended all the lectures. Come on, fast. Tell me which answers you are not able to solve.
I'm trying to see that. Chemical substances deposited in the walls of sclerin.
What is it?
Lignin.
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 Lignin. Lignin.
It's really cold in the town.
Yes.
Next. Done almost.
Ma'am, 7th. What is the specific function of cardiac muscle?
What is the specific function?
Let's start there.
What is the basic function of the cardiac muscles? Where is it present?
In the heart.
In the
In the
heart.
heart.
Pumping blood.
Pumping of the blood.
Okay.
Continuous contraction and relaxation and help in pumping of the blood.
Ma'am, the first question. The muscles found in the iris of the eye are dash muscles.
Smooth muscles, unstriated, smooth. Smooth muscles there. What are the 3 types of muscles you studied?
Smooth,
Striated or skeletal?
striated or skeletal, and unstriated.
Unstriated or cardiac, this now we studied.
Yes.
Next, go ahead. Fill in the blanks, you got all?
Yeah, fill in the blanks and
True, false,
were
got all?
very easy.
Okay. Worksheet questions, finish up.
Where are companion cells found?
What are companion cells?
It is
Fill in the blanks.
yeah.
Who remembers? Where are they found?
I have written it. I know that.
How come? You have written, you don't know the answer.
No, I have written it. I know it.
Where are companion cells found? Phloem.
Yes. Oh, did I write xylem? No, I didn't.
Phloem. Then what are the 4 types of cells of the xylem?
Xylem, xylem parenchyma. One of them is the non-living cell.
Names you tell me. What are the types of cells of the xylem then? What are the types of cells of xylem? Tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma, xylem fibers.
Xylem fibers are the
Xylem fibers, same like phloem fibers, phloem parenchyma remains the same. Only for phloem, 2 new types of cell, companion cells and seed tubes. Which part of the neuron helps in carrying the information, carrying the impulses?
the nerve cells.
Which part of the neuron? You were there, no, for that lecture? Nervous tissues. Which part of the neuron helps in the conduction of the message, conduction of the impulse? Which part of the neuron? Axon. Axon. No, the dendrites carry messages inside, and all throughout the carrying is done by the axon.
AX4N, right?
2 locations of skeletal muscles.
Inside the skeletal muscles. Skeletal muscles connect the
2 locations I asked you. Where are the skeletal muscles present in our body? If you have to tell me 2 locations, what will you say?
limbs,
Limbs, hands or the legs, and
fingers, limbs and fingers.
fingers, face, neck, shoulder, feet, toes, wherever bones are present. Wherever bones are present, surrounding muscles are all skeletal muscles. What do you mean by involuntary? Involuntary means what?
Something which
Involuntary means what? I talk about involuntary muscles. I say that the stomach muscles are involuntary muscles. What do you mean? These are muscles. What is the property we are talking about if it is involuntary?
That's smooth.
But involuntary doesn't talk about the smooth and the straight, it talks about the function. The moment you talk about voluntary, involuntary, it talks about the function. What is the meaning of involuntary?
Involuntary means it is not
The contraction of the muscle is not according to our wish or our will. But then what is voluntary? Which part of our body contains voluntary muscles? Hands, legs, face,
Everywhere which we
shoulder.
have to command the body.
The
to
parts
move.
of the body which we can move on our own, allow the process of contraction happen on our own, voluntary. But can we allow the heart to contract as per our wish, the lungs to contract as per our wish, the blood vessels, the stomach, intestine? So you understand these are all smooth muscles.
Cardiac
Involuntary.
muscles are involuntary.
Involuntary. Differences between the parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, as we have talked, as we have discussed, this is how exactly you have to study. Their basic differences, the diagrams you should know, and some questions are here also that you come across. What is the cell one made up of? What are their locations? And what type of function they do? What are two modified forms of parenchyma we studied?
The parenchyma which is used areolar and no.
Areolar is animal tissue.
Oh yes, sorry. I just associated with the air-filled vacuoles. Sorry.
Two modifications of parenchyma, two types of parenchyma. What are they? Two types of parenchyma. Chlorenchyma and chlorenchyma and parenchyma.
Oh yeah, not
Where is parenchyma present? Give one location of parenchyma.
on water
Aquatic plants. And give one location of chlorenchyma. Leaves. So these type of questions you will get. You will not get straight away questions every time. Right features, right functions, right features, right functions. No. So this is how you should read. When you are reading, this is how we discussed. We have learned all the heads. Functions are what, locations are what, examples are what, differences are what. So you'll have to read and remember. And always try to relate. Always try to relate and remember. So that way you don't have to memorize. There's no memorizing actually.
You cannot answer the ninth question. Best college.
What is it?
State the difference between tendon and ligament and give the function of adipose tissue.
Tendon
and ligament, I know what's the difference, but I cannot remember the actual factual points.
What is the difference? Only one point to write. Tendon and ligament.
I know that.
You write down what part of the body does it connect. The ligaments always connect bone to bone, one bone to another.
Tendon connects bone to
Muscle.
And the other part was give function of adipose tissue.
First of all, try to recollect where is adipose tissues located. Where is adipose tissues found? Remember, adipose tissues. Where is it found?
Too many terms that sound
Adipose tissues. In this chapter, tissues. There is many things to correlate. Then only you will remember. Adipose tissues. They are in the form of what? They are a layer of what? Adipose tissues are a layer of.
The one that is between bones. Is that what you're talking about? No.
Adipose tissues is in the form of a layer of fat cells.
Oh, under the skin.
Below the skin, the bottom layers of the skin, the dermis of the skin.
Okay.
Now this layer of fat, what does it do? What did we learn? It acts as an insulator. What is the meaning of an insulator? It doesn't allow the body heat to escape. That's how we are able to maintain our stable body temperature at all times. So this is the function that you have to write. It prevents the loss of body heat and acts as an insulator. Finish up now, finish up fast. Did you finish? Did you finish here? All. Got the answers all? Which one left? Which one is left? Okay, fill in the blanks and true false you have tried.
Actually, I can't remember that from this one.
Huh?
I'm not remembering a lot from this one.
The terms just sound the same.
Okay, so do one thing. Go home, you'll have to. For you, exams are going on. For you also.
No,
So at home, you'll try solving these questions because you don't have your book also. At home, you'll try solving this question, the worksheet questions. Find out as many as possible. You will write down the answers. Any answer that you're not able to understand at all, you will come and ask me next class. We start with the next chapter now. Improvement in food resources. Improvement in food resources. Turn to the chapter now. Turn to the chapter. Improvement in food resources. Now, this part of the chapter, you'll have to give me one book. You have one. That's why 2 books are there. You just have to follow. There's nothing to write as such now. Just give me one volume. By the time I ask him and he gets the book, you're almost done with the page. Now, improvement in food resources. The first part of the chapter, very, very easy. Certain few basic concepts only we are going to understand. First of all, we talk about the sources of food. What are we looking into? We are talking about sources of food. Now, here you get a basic question always. What are the 2 types of sources of food? You know already. What are the 2 types of sources? Plants and animals. We get food from where? We get food from plants. We get food from animals. So that's a basic concept that we have studied in other standards also. Sources of food. So when we are talking about plants and animals, now 2 words to understand. I am talking about plants. So with plants, we have to relate the process. What is that process? Agriculture, you know. And if I have to talk about animals, then what are we talking about? Animal husbandry. And this is what is relating to all the processes. This is what is relating to all the processes that would be associated with the type of animal products, and now that they are getting converted into different type of food items that we are dependent on. Animal husbandry. Next is we talk about some functions of food. If I ask you, tell me 3 functions of food, what should you say?
Provides energy to the body.
Okay, what else?
Okay, so it's basically fuel to the body, right?
Food. Whatever, energy, fuel, the same thing. What else? Why should we take in food? Why do we nutrition? It helps in growth.
Provides nutrition, fulfills the nutritional value that we need.
No, that's not a point to write. When we are talking about what are the functions of food, why do we take in food? Food has variety of functions, whether you talk about the animal product or the plant product.
Food helps in growing the hair.
So the first thing we are talking about, food helps in the proper or food in adequate amount helps in the growth of the bones and the muscles and overall growth of the body. Maintaining health. Maintaining health would not be a point to write. Why does, overall, the moment we talk about growth and the moment we talk about other points, health as it is comes in. So we talk about what are the functions of food. Number 1, helps in the process of growth and development. Food helps in the process of growth and development. Now we are talking about specific type of nutrients also. Say suppose if I now, since I'm talking about the concept of food, let me also talk about the word nutrients. Now, as I have started talking about nutrients and foodstuffs, can you tell me, are you aware about the difference between these 2 terms? Nutrients and foodstuffs. Are you aware about the difference between these 2 terms? You have always heard about these 2 terms, no? The nutrients and foodstuffs. What are foodstuffs?
Foodstuffs we don't know, it's just food.
Food. Food. Now say, when I talk about foodstuffs and when I talk about food sources, now junk food is something that you remember first. So when we talk about food sources and food stuffs are different. When I talk about food, now I did not write the word food because when I write down the word food, it's confusing. Am I talking about foodstuffs or I'm talking about food sources? Food sources are these 2. Plants, animals, food sources. Or I I may talk about, now that I talk about foodstuffs, now I can understand I'm talking about bread or egg or milk or apple or oranges. What I'm talking about? Foodstuffs I'm talking about. Then what are nutrients? What are nutrients?
Nutrients is always
Obtained from the
food.
One at a time, huh?
Nutrients is the nutritional is the useful content our body obtains from the food.
Something better?
Carbohydrates, fat.
Then how will you define this? Nutrients are what then?
Vitamins.
No, that's just the type.
Correct. What are these then? I talk about a piece of bread. In that piece of bread, we get carbohydrates. I talk about a glass of milk, we get proteins. I talk about the eggs, we get proteins. And I talk about the ghee, we get fats. So what are we talking about? What are nutrients? Chemical substances. I talk about the carbohydrates and the proteins and the fats and the mineral and the vitamins. What are these? Nature is one. They're all chemicals actually. These are all different types of chemical substances. Now don't get the concept, chemical does not mean always harmful. We are not talking about chemical which are harmful. No, we are talking about the biochemicals, chemical substances which make up our cells and tissues and help us in growth. So now that I talk about what is the definition of the word? Nutrients, the essential chemical substances which are present in different types of foodstuffs. Right now, what are nutrients? The essential chemical substances. The essential chemical substances. These are the chemical substances actually, because all of them are made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. Actually, all of them are made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. So that's the reason we say that these are the chemical substances. So what is the definition of the word nutrients? Nutrients are the chemical substances. These are the chemical substances. The chemical substances. These are essential chemical substances which are present in different foodstuffs. Essential chemical substances present in different foodstuffs. Essential chemical substances present in different foodstuffs. Essential chemical substances present in different foodstuffs. Now, these essential chemical substances that we are talking about can be of different categories. Now, what are those categories we are to talk about? We are talking about categories like carbohydrates, and after that we talk about categories like proteins, and then we talk about categories like fats, and then we talk about categories like vitamins, and then we talk about categories like minerals. So these are the different type of chemical components which are present in the food. So these are the different type of essential chemical substances, and again I repeat, all of them are made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, all these different type of chemical components they are. So what are these? Nutrients. Nutrients are chemical components which are present in the food. Now if I talk about carbohydrates, what are some type of food I can understand? Carbohydrates, bread, carbohydrate, all the different type of flour items that we eat, carbohydrate. What about potato, corn? Carbohydrate. What about sugar? Carbohydrate. So these are all different type of carbohydrate food that we are talking about. Next is what? I talk about the proteins. Are you aware what type of food items have got proteins?
Eggs, dals,
Egg, pulses, and nuts. The variety of nuts that we can consume, rich in proteins. Apart from that,
The
meat, and the fish. All the different type of food items.
Fishes are rich in vitamins and minerals too, right?
More of proteins. Fishes have more of proteins and little bit of minerals. So now that we are talking about proteins, what about fats? Can you tell me 5 sources of fats?
Oil, butter,
Oil, ghee, butter, cheese.
Everything made out of dairy has a lot of fats.
Yogurt.
Yogurt,
Dairy
yes,
products.
Dairy products. So now that we are talking about the
But
different,
milk itself is rich in protein, right?
milk is rich in variety of substances. Milk is rich in protein also. Milk has got adequate amount of fat also.
And milk also has
Sugar.
minerals.
Milk has got vitamins. Milk has got almost
But doesn't
everything.
it also have iron?
Yes.
Doesn't it also have iron?
Does not it also? Iron. Milk does not have iron. Milk has got a lot of vitamins. Minerals quite less. Milk has got a lot of vitamins. It has got high amount of proteins. a moderate amount of fats. So when we are taught, that's the reason it is known as an ideal food. But I don't know how much ideal the milk that we get in our homes. So when we are talking about the carbohydrate, proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals, basically these are known as foods which protect us from different type of diseases, because these type of foods neither help us in growth. This type of food, what would be their function? If I have to tell you that what are the functions of the vitamins and minerals, I'm saying vitamins and minerals, they neither help us in providing energy, nor they help us in growth, etc. But then why should we take in food which are rich in vitamins and minerals? Because they keep us safe from different type of diseases, protection from different type of diseases, protective foods. So all the different type of food which are rich in mineral and vitamins. For example, I talk about the green leafy vegetables rich in mineral vitamins, the fruits rich in mineral and vitamin. Again, different type of seafood and fish and egg, different type of pulses. Never mind, they are rich sources of protein, little bit of mineral vitamin. These are required in small amounts, but then they play a very important role when it comes to protecting from different type of diseases. Carbohydrates, what does it do? Energy, instant amount of energy. Fats, what does it do? Energy again. Fats and carbohydrates both provide energy, remember. Though we understand that carbohydrates basically provide us with energy, fats in fact provide us with energy even more and in very less amounts. The adipose tissue that we were just now talking about is nothing but made up of fat cells. Proteins, what does it do? Helps in building cells in our body, helps in forming cells in our body. Whenever we get injured, cut, wound, etc., etc. If the protein is not there adequate, which organelle produces proteins? Which organelle of the cell produces proteins?
Depends.
No, endoplasmic reticulum.
Rough endoplasmic reticulum or ribosomes specifically. Ribosomes produces proteins, and when ribosomes are associated with endoplasmic reticulum, what do we call it as? ARIA. Rough endoplasm. So that also produces proteins. So first of all, we try to understand this. There's one question. Why is it necessary to increase the production of different type of food crops and livestock? Underline the word livestock. What is meant by livestock? Food crops, you already understand. Livestock. What is the meaning of livestock? Livestock means the production of variety of different type of animals which would give economical products. For example, I talk about poultry, livestock. I talk about the ducks, livestock. I talk about the pig, livestock. So these are those group of animals which are reared or which are cultured, which are grown or are allowed to grow in large numbers because they produce different type of products which are beneficial for human or other different type of products that they would produce. Now say suppose I talk about the cattle, livestock, because the cattle that we are talking about, this cattle would be very much releasing different type of food items, milk and the milk products, of course. But apart from that, if I talk about the camel and then if I talk about the goat and the sheep, they may not give rise to or produce variety of foodstuffs, but then they produce variety of other different type of products, like the hide and the hoof and the body hair and all these things, which are also used for variety of different type of products making there. Wool that I told you. So all these animals, I talk about the cattle and the sheep and the camel and the pigs and the poultry, all this come under this category. What is this called? Livestock. These are those group of animals which are taken special care, so because they give different type of products which are of great economic importance. Underline that word, livestock. Now we talk about efforts. Can you see there's a concept known as efforts there. Now, whenever we are So now, whenever we are talking about a particular type of a concept, trying to understand that at one particular period, now this concept, the moment we start talking about efforts, we are talking about a particular concept. Don't look for your phone, it's my phone vibrating. So now when we are talking about efforts means what? We are talking about a period where in our country there was a shortage of food, there was a shortage of oil, there was shortage of milk. Okay. Now, how did the production increase? How did the production improve? So we talk about variety, like variety. Milk for milk it was white revolution. Then for pulses it was yellow revolution. For oil it was
I don't know about
golden revolution. And then for crops it was green revolution. So let me just remember this because basic definition.
Okay, so there is a blue revolution.
Blue revolution for all the production of the seafood or aquatic organisms. So at one particular period, now you will perhaps study all these things in detail in geography and all. So now where we talk about that at one particular period when there was dearth of food, drought all over, at that time various different strategies were thought to increase the production of different type of food in different areas, and that is what we are just talking about this concept in short. What are these efforts? Why do we call it as efforts? Because in different areas, new methods of culturing, new methods of farming, new methods of growth were thought of so that the production can be improved in a short period of time. So almost in a decade, the production became almost double, more than double in certain areas. So take those definitions to understand. Green revolution for crops. Various different methods of crop growing was invented at that time, known at that time, and where the production of crop became almost double. So we talk about white revolution for milk, blue revolution for all the different type of aquatic organisms, yellow revolution and golden revolution. Remember, yellow revolution is basically for the pulses, variety of different.
No, yellow revolution is for oil and
Yellow
golden is for
revolution. Yellow revolution is for oil and golden revolution is for pulses. Correct. Golden revolution is for pulses. Now, so these are the 5 terms that we understand. Now, when we look into that, what was the need for all these different developed methods? Because population was increasing at an alarming rate and there was really shortage of food. So at that time, these different methods had to be tried. Quite a number of times they were failure, but most of the time it was a success. So that is the 5 definitions to understand there. Nothing apart from the definitions, nothing else is required for you here in biology. Now next we move on to the methods. Look into that. The scientific management practices. Now when we are talking about a concept of agriculture, when we talk about a concept of agriculture, is it very easy that we talk about the different methods of growing plants? When we try growing plants in our own windowsill and the flowering pots, quite a number of times they doesn't grow. That means there's a particular method by which we should be flowering them, growing them, watering them, and the new shoot that we try to put them in the soil, again, particular method of planting them. So this is what we are going to try understanding in this part of the chapter, that what are some of the methods right from sowing the seeds till developing the well-grown plants. Look in the first one that we are going to talk about now. The scientific methods, management practices for improvement in crop yield. What is the meaning of yield? Underline that word. Yield means production. Yield means production. Now, food value. Now, first of all, just I have already introduced this concept that these are the different type of nutrients, and here we are going to look into that. What are the different type of food crops, along with some examples, at least 1 or 2 examples each category you are supposed to know. Look at the category. The first category is what? Cereals. You know already what are cereals. What are cereals?
Maize, barley.
I may talk about all the different type of grains. These are cereals. No, cereals. And cereals are basic sources of what? Carbohydrates. So look into that. Cereals, at least few examples you are supposed to remember. Most of these examples, check if at all any word is there you are coming across new. Cereals, wheat, rice, maize, millets. 3-4 examples, try to understand. Underline. What are these? Sources of carbohydrates. So whenever you are asked in the paper, write sources of carbohydrates. Remember what you write. Pulses, these are sources of protein. Now look into some examples there. Gram, and then we talk about the black gram, the green gram, the lentil. Underline the word lentil. The most common type of pulses that we talk about, and pulses are rich in, underline, proteins. Pulses are always rich in proteins. Next is oil seeds. Can you give me 5 examples of oil seeds?
Sunflower.
Production of oil that we get from them. What are those 5?
Sunflower seeds.
Sunflower.
Groundnut seeds.
And
That's sunflower.
Mustard seeds. Then soybean, groundnut is there, sesame is there.
Yes.
So when we are talking about all these, oil can be extracted from them. Hence they are known as oil seeds. Okay, these are the plant source of fats also that we understand. Oil seeds. Fat, vegetable and fruits. Just now we discussed that vegetables and fruits, green leafy vegetables especially, and fruits, what type of nutrient would they carry? They would carry a variety of vitamins and minerals. And what are vitamins and minerals meant for?
Prevention.
Protection against diseases. Let us just complete with this. Spices. Should we actually add spices to our
Well, turmeric is very helpful. It is
variety of them have got medicinal value and we would generally use them for flavor. But is it only for flavor? No, some of them also have got a small amount of vitamins and minerals also. Remember that? Take this, very important, fodder crops. Fodder crops. Now, in that category, this word is very common for you, very important for
the
you.
things that feed cows and
Fodder crops. Underline the word leguminous. Leguminous, underline the word leguminous. And another concept of leguminous, which I'm going to study in the later part of the chapter also, another chapter also. What are leguminous plants famous for? Why are they so important? Because these type of plants, the fodder crops, they have got special roots. What are these roots meant for? Trap the nitrogen of the atmosphere and make them usable to the plant. So these are also known as these plants, which are known as the leguminous plants, are able to fix nitrogen of the air into the soil so that the plants can use. Can the plant use the nitrogen of the air? No, not like us. Can we use the nitrogen of the air? We cannot. But do we need nitrogen actually in our body? Yes, all the enzymes and the proteins need nitrogen in our body. But we take nitrogen by the plants. By plant food, nitrogen enters our body. How do the plants take the nitrogen? They are standing direct in contact with the air, but they also cannot take in nitrogen. So these leguminous plants, will write an answer later. These leguminous plants help in trapping the nitrogen, convert them to nitrates, and the plant can absorb. Okay,
But if animals receive nitrogen from plants, what about some animals who are like carnivores?
Animals, in their body, the protein that they take in, the proteins can also get converted into simple forms of amines. The proteins are nothing but amino acids and amines. So that's how they can always get adequate amount of nitrogen in their body. Carnivorous animals. We'll continue.
Okay, fine. I'm just letting you know कि मुझे पता है तुम लोगों को बता रहे हूँ. But fine.
everything.